There's a quiet kind of pain many people wake up with, one that doesn't shout, but whispers through stiff fingers, creaky knees, and an aching back. At first, you might brush it off, blaming a bad mattress or a restless night. But over time, those whispers grow louder, stealing away the ease of movement, making mornings feel like wading through mud. Arthritis doesn't just attack joints, it chips away at independence, at joy, at the simple freedom of greeting a new day without dread. But here's a secret I want you to know. Mornings don't have to start in pain. With a few simple, science-backed habits, you can teach your body to wake up with more flexibility, less inflammation, and a greater sense of control. I'm Dr. Brian, and welcome to Channel Wellness Blueprint Over 50. Today, I'll share 5 gentle morning habits that can help you reclaim your mornings, your mobility, and your hope. Picture this. You've just woken up, sunlight spilling softly through the curtains, and instead of leaping out of bed, your body feels like it's been locked in place all night. That stiffness is familiar to so many of my patients, and it's one of the first ways arthritis makes its presence known. But here's the hopeful part. Stiffness isn't permanent, and movement, even the gentlest kind, can be the key that unlocks your joints each morning. When we sleep, our bodies settle into stillness. Think of your joints like doors that haven't been opened in a while. The hinges get a little rusty. A few gentle stretches work like oil for those hinges, encouraging the natural lubrication inside your joints, called synovial fluid, to start flowing. It's a simple but powerful way to tell your body it's time to move. One of my patients, Margaret, a retired teacher in her late 60s, once told me she dreaded mornings because her hands felt too stiff to even pour her first cup of tea. We started with just one habit. Before she reached for her slippers, she gently rotated her wrists, making slow circles. Over time, she added shoulder rolls, neck stretches, and a simple seated twist on the edge of her bed. Within weeks, she noticed her mornings no longer felt like a battle. They felt like a gradual unfolding. And the beauty is, these stretches don't need to be complicated or time-consuming. Picture drawing little circles in the air with your wrists, as if you're slowly stirring a cup of tea. Imagine rolling your shoulders forward and back, as though shrugging off the weight of yesterday. A gentle tilt of the head from side to side can ease the tension that often builds overnight in the neck. For your hips and back, sitting tall on the edge of your bed and twisting gently side to side can help your spine loosen like a coiled spring gently unwinding. Science supports this. A study published in the Journal of Rheumatology found that low-intensity stretching can significantly improve mobility and reduce reported pain levels in older adults with arthritis. The reason is simple. Movement wakes up the tissues around the joints, improves circulation, and signals your nervous system that your body is safe to move. The most important part is to listen to your body. These stretches should never hurt. They're not about forcing flexibility or chasing perfection. They're about kindness, giving your joints a gentle wake-up call instead of demanding they sprint the moment you rise. For people like Margaret, and perhaps for you, consistency is where the real magic happens. A few minutes each morning, day after day, can add up to noticeable improvements. Imagine starting your morning not with pain, but with the quiet satisfaction of knowing you've already taken the first step toward comfort and freedom. The first thing many of us reach for in the morning is coffee. And don't get me wrong, I enjoy a warm cup myself. But before that comforting sip, there's something even more powerful you can give your body, especially if you're living with arthritis. Pure healing hydration. Think of your joints as sponges. Overnight, while you sleep, they slowly dry out. By morning, those sponges are less pliable, less forgiving, and every step or bend can feel like pressing on brittle edges. What they crave is fluid, not just any fluid, but the kind that brings both moisture and nourishment. One of the simplest yet most effective ways is starting your day with warm water and a squeeze of fresh lemon. It's a small ritual that sends a big signal to your body. The warmth gently wakes your digestive system, while the vitamin C and antioxidants from the lemon go to work on inflammation. I often describe it to my patients as wringing out the stiffness, like pouring oil into a squeaky gear. I'll never forget George, a 72-year-old retired postman, who came to me complaining that his knees screamed every morning. He was diligent about taking his medications, but still felt trapped in a cycle of pain. I suggested something so simple he laughed at me at first. Start your day with lemon water. He agreed to try it. Within 2 weeks, he noticed not only less morning stiffness, but also improved digestion and energy. It wasn't magic, but a steady natural support for his body. For those looking for an extra layer of joint pain relief, herbal teas can be a morning blessing. Ginger tea, with its natural compounds that block inflammatory pathways, feels like a gentle fire warming you from the inside. Turmeric tea, rich in curcumin, has been shown in clinical studies to reduce the very molecules that fuel arthritis inflammation. In fact, a randomized trial published in Phytotherapy Research demonstrated that curcumin was nearly as effective as certain anti-inflammatory drugs in reducing joint pain, but without the harsh side effects. And if you like a touch of sweetness, a spoonful of honey not only makes the drink more enjoyable, but brings its own natural anti-inflammatory properties. It's as if nature has wrapped up a soothing remedy in a golden gift. The key here isn't perfection, but consistency. One glass won't erase arthritis pain, but making hydration a daily habit is like laying a foundation brick by brick. Over time, you'll notice mornings feel lighter, movements come easier, and the body begins to trust itself again. So before coffee, before the bustle of the day, give your joints the gift of hydration. It's a small step that can change the way you greet the morning, not with resistance, but with a sense of flow. There's a common moment I see in my clinic, especially with patients in their 60s and 70s. They sit down often with a sigh and quietly ask me, Dr. Brian, am I missing something? I'm doing the stretches, I'm eating well, but I still feel this dull ache every morning. That question almost always opens the door to a conversation about supplements. Now, let me be clear. Supplements are not miracle cures, and they should never replace medical care. But for many people with arthritis, they can provide that extra bit of support the body craves, like filling in the small cracks of a foundation to keep the whole house sturdy. One of the best researched helpers is omega-3 fatty acids, often found in fish oil. Omega-3s are like firefighters for inflammation, quietly calming the flames that make joints swell and ache. A large review published in the journal Pain found that omega-3 supplementation reduced morning stiffness and joint tenderness in people with rheumatoid arthritis. For my patient Ellen, a 67-year-old gardener, adding omega-3s was life-changing. She used to dread the thought of kneeling to tend her flowers. Within 3 months of consistent supplementation, she told me she could finally plant tulips again without tears welling in her eyes. Another supplement often worth considering is glucosamine. Think of glucosamine as the raw material your body uses to maintain cartilage, that smooth cushion between bones. As we age, our natural production declines, and joints can start grinding like brakes without pads. Glucosamine doesn't rebuild cartilage overnight, but studies suggest it may slow down wear and ease pain, especially in osteoarthritis of the knees. I like to tell patients it's like giving your body the supplies to patch up a road, even if you can't repave the whole street. Then there's curcumin, the concentrated compound from turmeric. You might remember I mentioned turmeric tea earlier, but supplements offer a stronger dose. Research has shown curcumin's ability to switch off certain inflammatory signals in the body, almost like dimming a light that's been left on too bright for too long. For some, it brings noticeable relief where standard medications alone weren't enough. Of course, this is where caution matters. Supplements may sound harmless because they're natural, but they can interact with medications or simply not be right for everyone. That's why I always emphasize speak with your healthcare provider before adding anything new. What works wonders for one person could be unnecessary or even risky for another. The deeper message here is hope. For those mornings when it feels like you've tried everything, remember there are still safe, evidence-backed tools available. Sometimes the answer isn't doing more, but doing the right small things with consistency. And when combined with movement and hydration, supplements can round out a powerful morning ritual. Not a cure, but a companion on your journey to reclaiming comfort and independence. Imagine a door that hasn't been opened in years. The hinges squeak, the frame resists, and it almost feels easier to leave it shut. But the more you open and close that door, the smoother it moves. Our joints work the same way. Many of my patients with arthritis tell me, Dr. Brian, I'm afraid to move because it hurts. What I gently remind them is that staying still may feel safe in the moment, but it actually feeds stiffness and pain. Movement, even the lightest kind, is what keeps the hinges of your body from rusting shut. Light physical activity isn't about running marathons or lifting heavy weights. It's about coaxing your body into motion in ways that feel kind, sustainable, and enjoyable. A simple morning walk, even just around the living room or down the driveway, is often enough to send fresh blood rushing to the joints, delivering nutrients and washing away stiffness. The warmth of movement acts like sunlight melting morning frost. I think of Robert, a 74-year-old former engineer, who once sat across from me with his arms crossed tightly saying, "I don't want to make it worse." He had convinced himself that exercise was dangerous. Together, we started with just 5 minutes of slow walking in the mornings, focusing not on speed but on rhythm. Within 2 months, Robert surprised me at a follow-up visit by saying, "I'm up to 20 minutes now, and for the first time in years, I can walk my granddaughter to school." His pain hadn't disappeared, but his relationship to his body had shifted, from fear to trust. For those with access, water-based activity like swimming or gentle pool movements can feel almost miraculous. The water holds your body, taking weight off your joints while still allowing muscles to stretch and strengthen. I often describe it as moving in kindness rather than against resistance. Even if you don't swim laps, simply walking or stretching in water provides joint pain relief without the burden of gravity pressing down. Scientific studies back this up. A trial published in Arthritis Care and Research showed that older adults with arthritis who engaged in low-impact exercise 3 times per week experienced significant reductions in pain and improvements in mobility. The secret wasn't intensity, it was consistency. Light activity is also a powerful antidote to the hidden villain of arthritis: fear. Pain teaches us to guard, to avoid, to shrink our range of motion. But small, regular movement teaches the opposite, that your body is still capable, still trustworthy. Each step, each stretch, each gentle swim whispers to your nervous system, "You are safe to move." So tomorrow morning, instead of rushing to sit down or bracing for stiffness, consider giving yourself a gift of motion. Just a few minutes, nothing heroic, nothing punishing. Over time, those minutes will grow, and the hinges of your body will remember how to swing more freely. That's the quiet miracle of light activity. It doesn't just move your body, it restores your confidence to keep moving through life. There's something many people don't realize about arthritis pain. It's not only a battle in the joints, but also in the mind. Chronic discomfort wears down more than cartilage. It erodes patience, confidence, and even hope. Stress and anxiety become unwelcome companions. And the cruel truth is that stress itself can make pain worse. It's like turning up the volume on a radio already blaring static. This is where mindfulness and breathing come in, not as abstract practices, but as deeply practical tools. Think of your nervous system as the body's thermostat. When stress runs high, the thermostat is cranked up, amplifying every ache. Slow, mindful breathing is like gently lowering the dial, reminding your body it is safe, easing tension not just in your mind but in your muscles and joints. I remember sitting with Linda, a 70-year-old widow who carried both the weight of arthritis and the grief of loneliness. She confessed that some mornings, the emotional heaviness of pain was worse than the stiffness itself. We began with just 5 minutes of breathing together in the clinic, inhaling slowly for a count of 4, holding for 4, exhaling for 4, a practice known as box breathing. She looked at me afterward with tears in her eyes and said, "For the first time in months, I feel a little lighter." That small daily practice became her anchor, helping her not only manage pain, but also rebuild resilience in her spirit. Mindfulness doesn't mean emptying your mind or achieving perfect calm. It means noticing your body, your breath, and your thoughts without judgment. It could be as simple as sitting quietly in a chair, placing one hand on your chest and the other on your belly, feeling the rise and fall of each breath. Over time, this builds a sense of presence that makes pain feel less like a looming shadow and more like a manageable part of life's landscape. The science supports what Linda experienced. A study in Annals of Behavioral Medicine found that mindfulness-based stress reduction significantly lowered pain intensity and improved overall well-being in people with arthritis. Researchers believe the practice alters how the brain processes pain, reducing the emotional distress attached to it. In other words, mindfulness doesn't erase pain, but it changes your relationship with it, softening its grip. The gift of mindful breathing is its simplicity. You don't need equipment, a gym membership, or even to leave your home. Just your breath, your awareness, and a few quiet minutes. When combined with the other morning habits, stretching, hydration, supplements, and light activity, it completes a holistic circle, body, mind, and spirit working together. So tomorrow, before the world rushes in with its demands, give yourself a moment of peace. Sit comfortably, close your eyes, and breathe deeply. Each inhale brings strength. Each exhale releases tension. Over time, those few quiet minutes can ripple out, transforming not just your mornings, but your entire outlook on living with arthritis. If there's one message I want you to take with you, it's this. Arthritis may shape your mornings, but it doesn't have to define them. Small, steady habits, a gentle stretch, a warm glass of lemon water, a thoughtful supplement, a short walk, or a few quiet breaths can weave together into a routine that softens pain, restores confidence, and reminds you that your body is still capable of joy. You are not broken. You are not alone. Every choice you make in those first waking moments is a step toward freedom, a whisper of hope to your joints and your spirit. Healing isn't about grand gestures. It's about consistency, kindness, and trust in your own resilience.